G'day guys, welcome back to Off-Road Crusader and to the final adventure video of 2025. Whether you see it in 2025 or it might be 2026, enjoy the summer. We are here at the southernmost point of Wellington Dam. Wellington Dam's located in the southwest of WA between Bunbury and Collie. It is a very large dam. It supplies a lot of the drinking water for southwest of WA before it goes through all the treatment, of course. And it is a very popular spot for camping, four-wheel driving, and it's quite big, and I've camped here many times. So today we're going to try and do something which I haven't seen done before, and I certainly haven't done before, and that is to traverse from the southernmost point of the Wellington Dam all the way, that way, to the northernmost point of Wellington Dam. We are going to be traveling along the side of the dam. Where possible, I want to try and stay close to the water. If I need to sort of cut off into the bush to get around something. I need to stay in sight of the dam. That's my rules for this trip. We're going to stop off about midway and find camp. There's some fantastic campsites on this side of Wellington Dam, and there's some of those places where they're local favourites or they're hidden treasures, or they might even be like a little secret spot that people sort of have built themselves. I'm not going to share the location of each of them. You need to come out here and find them yourself, but we're going to explore around and see what we can find. So we're going to keep heading in that direction. We're going to cross this tiny little bit of water. This is the most southern bit of water I can find of Wellington Dam that connects to the water. We're going to cross through here. We're going to head up that side and we're going to find camp this afternoon. So I've got Roscoe with me, who in the first 5 minutes of a camping trip is now covered in mud, you ripper. We're just going to solo camp. Let's do it all. Come along for the trip. Let's go. Well, the nice wide dam side has ended, and now we've got a little goat path to get around this little headland here. Let's cross our fingers. Oh no, she's not too bad. You can see if the tide's too high, you're not going to get through here at all. Oh, now it swings right back again. And back up we go. Every now and then there's these sort of tributaries that come off the dam. Obviously they're like streams that lead down to the dam and feed it water. And this one, the crossing, was just pure mud slop. So we got through it okay. Look at my car, it's all dirty. Ooh. Happy dog, dirty car. What a life. Let's keep cruising. So we've now done about 6k since we started our journey. We've come right around the dam and I've had to stick quite close to the water. It's kind of like beachy for a little bit, but up sort of closer to the tree line it's very rough. So down here is actually a little bit softer and nicer to drive on, but you've got to be careful of soft spots. Now, I don't know if this shows up very well on camera, but in front of me, the bush and the rocks sort of come down to meet the water. And it's a bit of an angle. There is a track that leads about in the center of that, so I'm going to give that a go. Hopefully we can get across. But just as a landmark reference, see that island over there? That's called Snake Island. Now that's where Paul from Camping Down Under ended up sailing out to and camping out there. Not sure if I'd be keen to camp on Snake Island, but but definitely is something pretty cool. So yeah, we're pretty much, we're about, I reckon, probably a quarter of the way up the dam, but I've got a lot more of these little tributaries and side tracks to take, so I don't think it's going to get any easier from here on in. But let's get around this bit first, and I'm going to find a nice little spot. We're going to pull up and have a drink, I think. Check this out, would you? This is what I love finding in the bush, little nooks. Look, someone's made a bar. It's been here for a very long time. The tree's basically grown around it. That's how long this thing's been here for. And you got to think how many parties, drinks, jokes, stories, friendships have been built over this bar. And look at the view on it, come on. Rope swing, beautiful dam, this is fantastic. Now this bar sort of is really on the spectrum in terms of my love-hate relationship with this place. Number one, Wellington Dam, incredible. It is free to come here. There is no entry fees to get here. Yes, it's a national park. You can enter in at probably 10,000 different locations to get here. It is baited, so if you take your dogs here, you need to be aware of that. Anyone can come here. There's nothing stopping anyone from coming here. That's a fantastic thing, I think. Now, the dark side to that is, unfortunately, anyone can come here. And when you have free reign of these sorts of places, you somehow get the people who don't have any respect for their own space. So all this rubbish here, all that wire, that's come out of a tyre. Someone's burnt and melted a tyre into that fire. All these little butane canisters which they've tried to blow up. Bunch of rubbish in there. Axe marks in the tree. Are you going to cut the tree down? Or are you just swinging and hitting at it? Beautiful big jarrah. And it's been hacked by a bloody little tomahawk. I think this is going to happen anywhere. You get vandalism on the trees, doing little love hearts and bits and pieces. It's probably not the end of the world like painting on it, but the axe marks are just where I kind of draw the line. Minion stuck in a tree, yeah, cool. But this little campsite that I found is just on the edge of a peninsula, overlooks that view. Fantastic spot, heaps of shady space. Not the most level of spaces, but definitely you could make it level very easy. But everywhere you go around this campsite, there's bottle tops on the ground, there's axe marks in the trees, there's bits of toilet paper and rubbish strewn in the bush up there, where people don't know how to dig a hole properly. And the people who come here and do that, come here for the same reason that I come here, is number one, it's awesome, number two, it's free, number three, it's close to a lot of regional urban centres down this way, and number four, it gives you a lot of freedom to just come and do whatever down here. And that's, number one, a great thing if you're a good person, and it's a scary thing if you're not a good person. But yeah, I have this real love-hate relationship with these sorts of places. What's the fix? How can we improve things? A lot of rubbish here. Do we start charging for a truck to come by and do a lap of Wellington Dam picking up rubbish? Might be 10 grand a week or something it costs you to come out and do that. Where does that money come from? Do they then gate all the entrances? Do they start finding people who come into Wellington Dam? Do we just ask people to be nicer and be good people? I don't know, what do you reckon, Roscoe? That must be where that tyre came from. There's not really a clear answer. And all you can do is be a positive force in these places so they stay open. So I'll grab as much of that rubbish as I can and put it in my rubbish bag. Whenever I come here, I try and clean things up and leave things better than how I found them. It's not always possible. It shouldn't have to be done, but it does have to be done if you want to keep using these places. This spot's fantastic. I'm going to try and put a pinpoint on my map. There's no reception here, so it'd be a great spot just to spend a few days and relax. I'm going to finish my drink. I think Roscoe's going to have another drink, and then we'll keep cruising. Right, I just thought I'd let you see our progress. We've done probably about 6 or 7 k's. We started here, right at the bottom. You can see that creek there, and there's a little road that goes apart over it. There's no water running basically below that creek, so we started about there, and we've made our way up, and at the moment I'm here. And you can see, for Wellington National Park, it's a fair way to go. Everywhere basically north of where we are now is much less traffic. As soon as we get around this bend, I think, and start following this coastline, it's going to be much more exploratory than so basically the spot we're heading to, see where it says back? Where that crossing is, that's the northernmost point of the dam. So that's where we're aiming to. We're going to cross this bit here. Now, my research tells me that there's a crossing along here. There's a crossing of rocks, a crossing of sand, whatever it might be. But you can see that turns into a river and heads that way. So I'm wondering if we can cross it. That may be the end of the trip, but we're not going to know until we get there. We've got to do all this coastline first. I'm hoping to find somewhere along here to probably make camp tonight. It's getting towards late afternoon, so I want to find a place to camp. But essentially, we're here, and that's where we're going to go. Bring on the adventure. Get around this headland. This is the sight that greets me. We can't pick that up with shadows, but they're all at least a foot deep. Oh well, this will take me around to the northern half of Wellington Dam. Let's go. Actually pretty insane around here. I've never been around this headland before, but it's like being on the coast. It's massive erosion of these clay cliffs, and the cruiser all the way up there. All right, we're gonna go that way. So we've come through this section, which I thought was pretty bad. Driven along a bit further, and it gets a whole lot worse. So I've got 2 ways to approach this obstacle, is I need to proceed in that direction. Number 1 is here, and you drive along there. It looks like people have done that previously, whether that's in cars I don't know, or whether it's in motorbikes. But I can come down that hill okay, do a hard right and follow that. The problem is there's a number of spots where the car is going to be pulled on a pretty extreme angle, and I really don't want to roll the car. So I may be able to pick my way through, and I may be able to use the max tracks to get my way through, but that way I stay high and dry. The other option is to come right down this ramp into the water and hug the coastline going along. That will be probably, well, I have very, very little chance of rolling it, but obviously there's a chance of getting stuck. This is clay where it meets into the water. Will the weight of the car and the sand pushing down on that wet clay get me stuck? In which case I have the option of winching out. There's plenty of trees up here to winch off of, but it'll be a long winch, or whether I use the max tracks. So this way I could roll it and it's game over, and this way I could get stuck and end up recovering for a long time. the angles left and right do scare me, so I think I'm going to take the water option, just because I think probably the car will be safer, and worst case scenario I can winch myself out of harm's way. Whereas this way, if I roll, it's completely game over. So let's get the car down and just see how this ground under the water reacts to the weight of 3.5 tons of cruiser. So the dam floor is soft and it will break through a crust. We've made it so far, but I've got this sort of rocky peninsula to get around, and I can't tell without actually walking in the water, but I think that side in the water is fairly deep. I don't want to come up here because I have a real bad drop off here. So I think I'm going to try and drive straight over the middle of this, follow the beach and end up there. Let's see how we go. So that felt really sketchy because the back end of the car started to slide into the water and I had to give it a bootful to spin it. Crested over this, which has got a fairly big drop off on the other side, and thank God we didn't belly out. So keep going that way. Whew. I need a drink. Okay, we've been driving a fair way now. We've covered a fair bit of ground. I've done nearly 10 kilometres. It sounds pretty abysmal. Now the problem is I'm off on this tributary creek thing to find a way across. And on the other side of this creek, tributary, whatever you want to call it, it is a very steep angle from the bush down to the water. And it's full of logs and rocks and it's not passable by car. So we're gonna have to go off into the bush to detour around it. And I'm really hoping that it's not too far from the actual waterline. Otherwise we're gonna lose on our rule of always seeing the water. So before, where it was a physical, the car will not make it around the dam, now it's a case of we may not be able to stick to our rules. And I'm just coming up to the crossing now for this, and it looks a little bit, I don't know if this is going to be sloppy or not, but I'm jumping into it anyway. Oh no, she's firm. It's a bit anticlimactic. Righto, so let's, now that we're on the other side of that, we can see what we can see. There's motorbike tracks that go the way I want to go. think a car's going to fit. Yeah, that looks pretty handy going. Let's just poke your nose. I don't know, there might be a little track somewhere. No, I'm calling that. That's I got to show you this. That's the angle of it, and there's nowhere down the bottom to drive along the water, and there's nowhere up the top to drive along the trees. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to backtrack and find another way around. So the good news is I've immediately found a track to do what I want to do, and I can still glimpse the water through the trees. So we're sticking to our rule. This track is very overgrown, and this is one of the reasons I have bush barriers on my car. So they're the magnetic panels you see on the outside with the graphics on them. They are a thick, solid barrier between these kinds of scratchy trees and my paintwork. Now, admittedly, the paintwork on this car has already seen better days. There's scratches and bits and pieces in it, but this stops all the nasty stuff from what I can do to it. So, so it is well worth it. So I'm going to keep picking my way along. This is very tight. There's a walk trail. Oh, that looks a bit gnarly. Might walk this. This looks proper gnarly. Massive big rock down the bottom to fall against, and this steep hill, loose rocks, ruts. I don't even know what's up the top, but there's that much traffic on this hill, it's got to go somewhere. So the cruiser can do it. It's nearly 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to do this hill and then find camp, I think. What the hell is this? Well, this is where the crawl control is going to help. I think if we can get past this bit, the rest of it shouldn't be too bad. Let's see how we go. So I decided at the last minute I'd try this higher line, because there's a real big rock right where my driver's side tyre is right now, that I think if I tried to stick on that side, down on that left side there, it would just catch on my lower control arm and it'd be going nowhere. And there's not really anywhere else to turn to, whereas this way, I think I have more of a chance. I need to be more towards the right hand side there, to the passenger side, because I've hit a big rock step, and there's a massive rock that's catching my rear diff as well. So I'm going to see if I can move a little bit to the right. Hopefully it clears that big rock and my rear diff is okay. Otherwise we'll have to do some rock packing. know I've bellied out. Can't go forward, can't go back. All I can do now is get the winch out, winch myself forward and keep moving. The hill that defeated. So I'm just about out of ideas, but when in doubt, your trusty bottle jack usually comes in handy. The problem I have is that this driver's side wheel has been jammed hard right hand down, and not when I'm trying to go up a rock, it's actually trying to twist the thing off the rim. And I think if I pull too hard, it'll actually break the tie rod end or the CV. And this is the last place I want to be doing mechanical damage. So I've used my bottle jack, raised that corner of the vehicle, packed underneath the tyre, managed to turn it so it's on a straighter angle. And now when I winch, the tyre is going to try and climb up on the rock rather than trying to get twisted sideways. My rear end is still completely rested on top of a rock, so I've got no traction from the rear wheels. So it's all basically going to be the winch, this one. If it gets a bit much, I might have to do a double line pull. But let's give this a go. Fingers crossed. This is not going well. The winch rope snapped. I don't even know how to join it together. It's not a skill I've honestly ever chased. But whatever amount of load is on this winch is too much for a single line pull. Which for a 12,000 pound worn winch, there's a fair bit of force going on here. So I'm going to do a double line pull and fingers crossed it starts getting me somewhere. Gotta go get my pulley out. Well, we've been stuck now for a few hours. No reception. Snapped winch rope. Running ahead of ideas. And all I could think of was you can't go forwards, let's try and go backwards. Use the bottle jack to raise the rear diff, got it clear of the rocks, and then just bumped it using reverse gear until it jumped off that rock. And it was still held by the winch rope, so that was nice and safe. But once that was done, we could then fill the holes that were in with rocks and start to move forward. It's been a lot of hard work. I'm dusty, I'm dirty, I'm absolutely exhausted, but we're slowly getting there. I've pulled myself forward very slightly just to make sure I'm up and out of whatever problem I was in before. Gone through, repacked everything in front of the wheels. So now, fingers crossed, I can just slowly winch up, use a little bit of drive, a little bit of the winch. What I'm going to try and do is minimize wheel spin, and as soon as I can get my front wheel sort of over this rock, then I can reassess and start to figure out where I'm going to go from there. Because that's been the real hurdle, and so far my tyre's aiming in the right direction and all four wheels have traction, so that's all you can really hope for in these situations. Alright, let's finish this thing off. If this works, you have to have a drink. Have a drink if I get out of this. check how my wheels are sitting and then winch the rest of my way up. Right. Oh, my knee. Ooh. I hope you guys had a drink. Oh boy, I need one. Right. I want to disconnect all this. I'm going to have to leave my winch rope all out because it's got a big knot in it and I can't spool it back in. Well, let's get this packed up. Then we'll go find camp, make some dinner, have a drink. So here's the big rock I had my diff stuck on. See, I've gouged a nice little trench into it. And I just realised my rear wheel was stuck in this thing. If I can get a good shot of that. But that's about a foot deep and it's got real sharp rocky walls on it. So my front tyre was caught on that rock where the log is, my back tyre's caught on there, my diff's caught on there, and these side wheels are just spinning. But we're out now. Alright, let's go make camp. Well, sit rep for you. We're driving along, it's nearly 8 o'clock at night. It's dark and this track just keeps going. There's another steep hill in front of me. This looks much easier. I'm just going to crawl it. But geez, I'm ready to get back to the dam, make camp. Whoa! Enjoy myself. All right. I'm gonna just hit a rock or something. All right, I'm gonna concentrate on driving. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Welcome to camp, everyone. It's 9:30 at night. We've just rocked up. We found a good spot. I ended up driving a fair bit more at night because I thought I wanted to find a good campsite, and everywhere I came up to see was not a good campsite. Or nothing really special to really stop at. So I thought I'd keep driving, which once you get down to the dam was fine. Problem was in the dark and trying to do it. We came across a number of obstacles after we last caught up. There were gates, which I didn't even think there'd be gates down this way, but apparently there's a private property down by the dam edge, down by the dam's edge, and there's a big gate that stops at, so you can't access a big chunk of the dam edging to drive across. Then from there I went down a few tracks, got to the dam, drove around a bit, and then found that it was just impassable to get around certain sections, whether it would be it's full of trees, the elevation's just not right, too many rocks, whatever it might be. So I had to backtrack into the forest a fair bit and ended up getting lost in the forest. So usually driving around at night in the bush is not the end of the world, but yeah, I was over it and kept getting lost, and roads were just going everywhere, and these tracks were rough and they were overgrown or they're full of spiderwebs or whatever it might be. Yeah, anyway, so we end up getting back down to the dam and made it. Basically, I've been following the dam now for about 5 or 6 k's, I think. Very rough, lots of washouts, lots of rocks, but we ended up at this spot here. which I think is about probably 2/3 of the way to the end of our trip. It's a fantastic little like peninsula that sticks out into the water. There's a nice bushy area here, lots of open flat space. So we just found a spot and called it a night, making a toasted sandwich. So that's all I can be bothered with at the moment. Roscoe's absolutely knackered. He'll be ready for bed. So yeah, I'm gonna have a quick drink, something to eat, then probably wash up and head to bed. I'll show you more of the campsite in the morning because you can actually see more, but at the moment this is camp. Morning light, table, chair, kitchen setup as you're used to seeing it, and the altitude rooftop tent up there ready to go. So I'm gonna probably just have some dinner, get dressed and go to bed, I think. So I'll catch up with you guys in the morning, show you around camp, show you where we ended up, and we'll kick off part 2 of this trip. Cheers guys, thanks for following along. If you are interested in more of this sort of content, make sure you subscribe down below, click the bell, etc, etc. No, seriously, it does go a really long way behind the scenes for getting things moving on the channel. So if you can, that'd be great. If not, just leave a comment and just say, you know, nice try. All right, good night guys, I'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers. Good morning all, welcome to camp. Had a great night last night. Absolutely knackered, very glad to hop into bed. Roscoe slept well. I'm making some breakfast. Thought I'd show you how we do it with the old induction cooktop. Check this out. So this is my kitchen setup that you all probably know about. Look at that. Big piece of Scotch fillet, some bacon. I'll cook some eggs up when I've got some space. 1200 watts of power. Just pulling 110 amps. Love having a big inverter set up. This is fantastic. So I'm going to get this all cooking, have some breakfast. An awesome little ARB table and chair. Actually really like these. They were a bit of a splurge purchase because, you know, it's usually a table and chair does all the same thing, but I'm really glad I got these because they've just been fantastic. I really like them. Speaking of really like, I don't think I'd ever go back to a clamshell style tent like the Alu Cap. This thing is fantastic. The ladder, well, speaks for itself. Having big rungs on there and handrails makes it so easy. Super comfy mattress, overhead fan, lights, charging ports. The works. Me and Roscoe slept like absolutely babies up there. Realised I copped a hit on the rear bar and it's pushed out the catch for the swing arm. So where this is meant to go, the whole bar itself has moved up and to the left, which means that catch is up and to the left, which means it doesn't quite line up with that locating block. You can still sort of jam it in there, but probably something I'll have to look at fixing when I get home. So where we camped last night was on this sort of peninsula, and the fantastic thing is you can see all the way north to where we want to go, and you can see all the way south from where we've been. You can see there's some campers on the other side over there, but the dam wraps all the way around, and that's the way we're heading. So today, after we're packed up and eaten everything, continue along here. Got to head in that direction. There's another big tributary, which is actually the Collie River, that we have to cross. I found a spot it looks possible, but I don't know. We're going to go there and find out, I suppose. So we'll go and check it out. I think my steak's ready. I'm going to eat some breakfast, and we'll get saddled up and away we go. So we're back on the tracks. We covered a bit of ground last night, which was good, because now we're not too far away. We've still got probably our biggest unknown challenge, but I'm about 80–90% of the way to the northernmost tip. So I'm just cresting into the last tributary right now. Tracks up here are definitely smoother. You don't get as many erosion gullies as the southern half where the truck driving was really rough, and I'm a little bit happy for that because we did a fair bit of rough driving and tough tracks and stuff yesterday, so it's nice to have a bit of a break. So we're going to keep moving on. Supposedly there's a spot to cross the Collie River where there's a bunch of rocks and rapids and things, but I honestly don't know, so we're going to go check it out, see if it can be done. If it can be done, awesome. If not, we may have to find another path and another way forward. So yeah, fingers crossed. Well, I've been making really good progress going through this dead forest in the water, and then I've come across this. I've got to get across this gully, but there are logs and massive rocks all blocking across here, but there's a track that looks like it follows the tree line around and pops me out on the other side, so that's where we're going to have to go. Bit annoying when these roadblocks come up, but we're still going well. We're nearly there. So we're going to duck off into the bush, cruise around on that track, see where it ends up, keep the water in sight, and we're nearly there. Hopefully we can get this done. Making progress. Oh, there's a gate here. Why would they gate this bit off? Well, it's going to be gated for a reason, and I'm not interested in breaking the law. So we'll have to circle back, put a pin in it, and find a way around this gate, which unfortunately is going to lead us further away from the dam, but we can still meet our goal of making it all the way around. So I'm going to hit the trails. I'll update you once I get back to the water. Finally back down at the dam. You can see straight ahead in the center of the camera, that's where I started, and I had to make my way around. I did have to cut right back into the bush onto some bush tracks. I found one that I thought, oh, that'll lead me straight down to the dam, but the further I got into it, it was really a one-way ticket. If I went down that track, I was never coming back up, and now that I can see the shoreline here, I'm glad I didn't, because there's no way I'd get around to here. So anyway, so we're here. Just around the corner is supposedly where you can cross the river. We're going to go and check it out, and then hopefully if we can get on the other side, we should be home and host. Hopefully meet our goal. Very dusty around here. Let's keep cruising. So this is supposedly where the river is low enough to cross. No. This is definitely not crossable here. The further this goes, it heads towards private property, so I'm unsure if this can even be done, but I'm going to keep driving around. I'm here, I may as well have a look. So I'm going to keep driving. I'll let you know if I find something. This is a gorgeous corner of the world, but unfortunately it's just not passable. I don't know if you can see the riverbank up there, but definitely not passable that way. Cruiser's taken a battering from all this. And I found a few little campsites. Looks like ones the locals use, but I think I'm going to call it. I don't think this can be done. I could maybe find some chicken tracks further up, but this river flows all the way into Collie, and it's chockers, it's full. I don't see there being a spot where you can physically drive through this, where it's gotten widen out. So all I can do is basically skip this bit. What I'll do, I think, is I'll head back inland a little bit, get to a spot where I can cross the river, and then basically try and cut back as soon as I can. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing really. I was really hoping I might be able to get from the southernmost point of Wellington Dam to the north without touching bitumen, while keeping the water in sight. But it's just not going to be possible. Oh well, I found out now. Now you know too. I'm going to jump in the car, get driving, see if I can get back down to this water. I wonder if I can get around to this side. Looks kind of nice. Stay tuned. I've driven further upstream. It's about as far as I can go. Turns into farmland and fences up there. But theoretically, this is the most crossable point that I reckon you could get across. The water's moving. The other side looks very muddy and boggy. Don't want to end up there. And yeah, so theoretically, if you didn't care about your car or you had a bunch of mates who could pull you out, you could probably cross here. Probably. But not me. We're done. We're going to cruise back, find the highway, cross over the river, and come back on the other side. So close. She's missing a few bits. Don't think that's possible. Oh well, let's keep looking. Good news, everyone! I found the crossing. Not that one. This one. I was just following chicken tracks leading off the main road around the river, and I found this. There's so many rocks and bits and pieces. I think there's an old brake rotor in there somehow. There's bricks in there as well. So this is definitely crossable, and this will get us on the other side. So we will still cross the Collie River. Yeah, beauty. Right. Let's go, cruiser. So I'm not going to tell you where this place is. It's got a name though. Eris Crossing. You'll have to come out here and find it for yourself. I'll give you one clue. We're going to finally cross this river. Done. Cruises across. Water crossing conquered. Not the biggest challenge, but try to find it. Wow, it's all at the exploring and discovering where the road ends. You wouldn't find this otherwise, so make sure you get out, suck the guts out of life, explore and discover where the road ends, and you'll find cool stuff like this. All right, I'm gonna go back, try and find the other side of Welly Dam. Let's go. Well, for all intents and purposes, this is water at the northernmost point of Wellington Dam. So we're currently at the northernmost point of the dam that you can get to. The actual tip of the dam is just through there, but this is as close as we can get. They've shut off a heap of the bush for prescribed burn-offs, which they do a lot of here in WA. to maintain you know, leaf litter and that sort of stuff that would cause big issues with bushfires. So a bit anticlimactic, but we made it. No, you cannot do it all in low range. No, you cannot stick to the gravel the whole way, but you can still travel from the north, from the south to the north of Wellington Dam, and have a good time doing it as well. So that's our adventure done. We got there. I think even if they hadn't closed the bush off, you still have to drive on the highway to get around here. You can't cross that Collie River and then stay on the dirt to get to the to get right around to the dam again. Oh well, good to know. I had an awesome adventure anyway. Fantastic time. Roscoe loves it. Hey Roscoe. Yeah, he's happy. So yeah, that's us done and dusted. The cruiser has copped an absolute hiding this trip and is going to need some TLC. We'll probably get home and get started on that. Thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope it was enjoyable for you. It was definitely enjoyable for me. I really enjoy making YouTube videos, so if you'd like to see more of them, make sure you subscribe. You can also go to the link which will be in the description to buy shirts, patches, stickers to support the channel. And there's also a Patreon page as well, where a very select few of my fans get to join together and we can chat, and they get to see exclusive content and that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in helping the channel out further, those are some ways you can do it. If not, even just watching this video, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video. What was your best part? What was your worst? And where should I go next? All right, no worries. All right, well, me and the cruiser gonna hit the highway. All right, we'll catch you next time on Off-Road Crusader. Cheers.